السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Inshallah, this morning we are going to start, by making tafsir of Surah Hashr from ayah number 19. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. This ayah translates as follows. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who have iman, or O you who believe, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let every soul consider what it is sending ahead for tomorrow. Wattaqullah, fear Allah ta'ala. Indeed, Allah ta'ala is fully aware of what you are doing. So in this ayah of the Quran, in ayah number 19 of Surah Hashr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have iman. And He's advising us to have taqwa. He's advising us to fear Him. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu used to say that whenever an ayah starts with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have iman, he used to say, listen attentively to what is going to be said. Because when Allah Ta'ala starts an ayah with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, He is addressing the Muslims, and He is either going to, request them to do something good, or He is going to request them to refrain from something that is bad. So in this ayah, Allah Ta'ala is advising us to have taqwa. Now, taqwa, comes from the Arabic word wiqayah. Wiqayah is a protection. So what Allah Ta'ala is saying in this ayah, that, oh, you who have iman, take a protection for yourselves against the punishment of Allah Ta'ala. O you who believe, protect yourselves from the punishment of Allah Ta'ala. And how does a person, do that? How does a person take a wiqaya, a protection against the punishment of Allah Ta'ala? That is by doing what Allah Ta'ala instructs him to do and refraining from that which Allah Ta'ala prohibits him to do, from doing. When a person does that, he has taqwa. He has taken a protection for himself against the punishment of Allah Ta'ala, because a person who is obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who carries out what Allah Ta'ala instructs him to do and refrains from that which Allah Ta'ala prohibits him from, he is protecting himself from the punishment of Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala will never get angry at the person who is obedient to Him. And when Allah Ta'ala is not angry with the person, that person can feel safe from the punishment of Allah Ta'ala. So this is the first instruction from Allah Ta'ala in this ayah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ttaqullah. O you who have iman, fear Allah Ta'ala, or protect yourself, against the punishment of Allah Ta'ala. And Allah Ta'ala then says that a person should consider what he is sending ahead for tomorrow. Now the word ghadan, which means tomorrow, is generally used by the Arabs to refer to the future. And Allah Ta'ala is saying that, let every person consider what he is doing and sending ahead for tomorrow, meaning for the day of Qiyamah. Because the actions that we are doing, these actions, they are either good or bad. And these actions are being written down. And these actions, a person will have to give an account to Allah Ta'ala about them on the day of Qiyamah. So a person is being advised in this ayah that to consider, his what he's doing, because what he's doing, there will be consequences tomorrow on the day of judgment. You see, a person should, keep himself busy with doing good, complying with the orders of Allah Ta'ala, doing what Allah Ta'ala wants, and he should refrain from disobedience. The doing of good, draws the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a person is rewarded for it. And the doing of bad, earns, the anger of Allah Ta'ala, which will lead to the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah Ta'ala says thereafter, wattaqullah. Again, Allah Ta'ala is saying, and fear Allah Ta'ala, take a protection, against the punishment of Allah Ta'ala. So, before Allah Ta'ala, advises a person to consider his actions, he tells you, he advises him to fear him. And after he tells the person about, take into consideration what you are doing, because what you are doing, there will be consequences in the next life. Allah Ta'ala again, advises the person to have the fear of him. So it is through this fear of Allah Ta'ala that a person's actions will be good. And it's through the fear of Allah Ta'ala that he will refrain from the doing of bad. And then Allah Ta'ala goes on and says that Inna Allah khabirum bima ta'malun. And indeed, Allah Ta'ala is fully aware of what you are doing. So what we are doing has consequences. It's just a person is not just free to speak as he wants to listen to what he wants to talk about what he wants to, do what he wants, take what he wants to, give what he wants to, walk towards, where he wants to. Our deeds that we are doing, they are either divided into good and to bad. Into good or bad, and Allah Ta'ala advises us and tells us that I am aware of those actions, and on the basis of what you are doing, I make my decision in terms of providing you with safety and security and respect and dignity, and Allah Ta'ala makes a person's life either good or bad according to the deeds that he is doing. And in the next life, what will happen to us will depend upon our deeds. That is why Allah Ta'ala is reminding us that He is fully aware of our deeds, and our deeds will have consequences in this life and in the next life. And then Allah Ta'ala goes on and says, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. And do not be like those who forget Allah Ta'ala, so He has made them forget about themselves. And these are the ones who are completely disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in this ayah, we are being prohibited from not remembering Allah Ta'ala, forgetting about Allah Ta'ala, and just living our lives as we want to. Allah Ta'ala wants us at all times to keep Him in mind. We should not forget about Allah Ta'ala, that He is our creator. He is our sustainer. He is in control. He runs the universe. Be an obedient slave of Him, of His. Remain in obedience. Worship Him. Do not forget Him. And if a person, fails to do that, and he forgets about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he doesn't think about, there is an Allah above me. There is a creator above me to whom I should, be subservient on. So he checks his actions. If a person forgets about Allah Ta'ala, Allah Ta'ala will make him forget about himself, in terms of forgetting what he should be doing, for his next life, what he should be doing in this world.